edition of the Sustainability Track here on African Renaissance TV with me, Mohamed Bibaji. Today's episode is a special one in which we are going to talk about real estate in the face of sustainability. To have a conversation around this, I have an expert, the president of the Association of the Real Estate Agents as far as the Gambia is concerned, someone that will help us guide us through the benefits of real estate in the Gambia, the contributions to the national development as well as the continental growth. Before we head on to this discussion, we'll have him introduce himself within seconds, and from there we have a conversation with him. Mr. Cisse, thank you and welcome to the Sustainability Track.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Musa Janko Cisse, and currently the president of the Association of Real Estate Companies in the Gambia, called ARECT. I am also the general manager of Global Properties. I have been with Global Properties for the past 16 years and at a management level. The Association of Real Estate Companies was formulated in 2013, and this is the third board, and I have sat on each of them as first the treasurer, then the vice president, and currently the president. So I probably think I am the right person to explain exactly how this all began and what we have tried, what went right for us and what didn't, and where exactly we are today.
That's quite important. I mean, and that's quite also a background as far as our topic is concerned. 16 years is not 6 months.
That's right.
It's not 6 days rather. But we will have this. Before we can roll on the conversation, I want us to expand a bit on the role of the association as in the Gambia. What are some of those key roles that the association is established to really do within the Gambia here?
Now, first and foremost, maybe I need to talk about the background as to how this association came into being. When this industry started, sprouting up, it wasn't as if people were brought together to start, or there was an industry per se. There was no industry. Everybody was doing this business at a personal level. At a personal level, until companies started to come up, and everybody was just doing. It was sporadic. Everybody was just doing.
And anyone anything. that has the finances could just go into it.
Exactly. So in 2013, the government, got kind of worried and invited us to a meeting where we were advised to form an association whereby the government can communicate with one body. Now, that was a blessing in disguise for us because we did not only see it as a communication tool, but we saw it as an association whereby we can develop the industry and try to form standards, uniform standards that the industry can go by. So that is basically the background of the association.
The association. Well, that's quite important. I mean, because coming together as a team, it's like you have that how do you call it? That universal hand that you can always go in for growth and then exponential developments as an industry.
That's right.
And now that formality is there. But moving on, as an industry, the real estate industry, what could you say as far as the evolving is concerned? Because when you look at it, it has been years since your existence, not just as an association, but as an industry now. How has it evolved over time?
It has evolved, but not too much, to be honest, because so many companies have come in and disappeared because they really didn't know how to do this. But they jumped into it thinking they could do it until they found out that it is not the way they thought it was. And most of them got into trouble and they disappeared. But to some extent, it has evolved as well because so many have learned and they are willing to do the right thing. And that is where we are today. And the association is working on making sure there are standards whereby its members will abide by these rules and regulations, looking at the ethical aspects of this business or this industry. And most members are trying to catch up. As far I think that is a great evolution.
Indeed, that is important. I mean, because looking at how things have been done as far as the real estates are concerned, a decade ago, and then today in the 20 2023, one could find some huge improvements, and that is quite an important step. But looking at that, like you said, going forward, as far as real estates are concerned, one thing I wanted to ask would be, what is that relationship between the real estate association and then the communities? Is there any sensitive or any important connection that is there? How important is a community as far as your work is concerned as an industry?
Absolutely. The product that we sell is properties, and it is properties that make up communities. So if you operate in a community and you develop an estate there, automatically you are contributing to the development of that community. Indeed. And you know, the good thing is that when we set up our estates, our sketch plans and everything are approved by the government. So you know, you're going to have the right size of roads. You know, you're going to have the right water reticulation running through the communities, the right poles, you know, electricity poles and all those things. So before now, when you go to places like Kololi, Kersiring, you know, you find there are too many dead ends. Do you understand? So when you go to our estates, you don't find those things because the physical planning would have gone through your plan and approved it. So this is bringing, you know, more value to these communities. Yes.
That is important because for a community, those infrastructures like the road networks, the access to water, access to electricity is an important component for any progressive community.
It is.
And then the fact that now, like you are saying, the real estates are really considering this as an important angle is important. Mm-hmm. And one of the most important things as far as we are concerned from our end here, it's about sustainability. And mm-hmm. that goes a long way in terms of answering some questions on sustainability. But I want to ask this question specifically on that. When it comes to the communal level, as far as estates are concerned, what are some of those things that you think are relevant going forward in the face of sustainability? What are some of these things that you think the real estates are doing to contribute to the sustainable growth of people in terms of their lifestyle, in terms of infrastructures?
I think the most important thing, like you've just said, is the infrastructure. Most of these communities don't have the right infrastructure. So we going in there and bringing them the infrastructure is I think that defines
contributes to their development.
Yeah, that contributes mostly to that. And then economically, it also increases the value of their properties. Do you understand? So what is worth 100,000 today, because of one estate has come into a community, it can be worth like 300 or 400,000.
Access to those amenities.
Exactly, those amenities and you know, the kind of structures, you know, that are even going to come around that area. So the property of your value automatically goes up. You know,
so as far as sustainability is concerned, that is quite important because people, as a society, we tend to look at beyond our generation here. Because when you looking at the sustainable aspect of it, we try to understand this to say, okay, as a people living here today in this 21st century, we have a mindset to believe that there are generations to come, and if those road networks are not there today in the various estates, and this could backfire as far as maybe next decade or 20 is concerned. So that role for the real estates is also an important part as far as the community is concerned. But when you look at this, going forward, I want to also mention some of the benefits that is there for people. What are the benefits of a real estate? That as an outsider, how should I look at this? What benefits are there for a country like the Gambia to have an association of the real estates in this country?
It is important for so many reasons. Yeah. First and foremost, if you have a real estate companies come together and speaking with one voice, you know, that alone is a big thing, because then even the government, like I said, their aim was to talk to us so it can, you know, the information can also be passed on to all our members. So the line of communication, first and foremost, is there, and it's effective. Secondly, is as an industry, as an association, we don't only see ourselves as companies running after money. even though that's how we are labeled. But our aim is to make sure that every single member of this association puts at the heart of their business the satisfaction of their customers. Satisfying the customer comes with
a lot of things.
Lots of things.
Indeed.
You know, is to make sure that the land that you're selling is clean, is to make sure that the facilities that you promise are there, the infrastructure, and so many other things. There are challenges here and there. There's no doubt about that. But we are working on those things. And as an association too, we are making sure that our members are educated. You know, because like I said in the beginning, most people started this business without a background to this industry. They just go into it like that. But today, we are conducting trainings for senior personnel, and everybody knows exactly what is expected of you.
Them, okay.
Yeah.
That is quite interesting. I mean, growth starts from within the association
That's
before
right.
it could translate to
That's
the societal level.
That's right.
That is important. But what would you say to the statement that real estates can directly contribute to the centralization of development in the Gambia? What would that be? Would one be accurate to say when the government's ambitions of decentralizing development in the Gambia, the real estates have a long, good say as far as that is concerned? Would that be a legit statement?
When we started operating as global properties, I'm just going to give an example. The way we used to target our communities was based on government pronouncement. You know, when government says we are going to build road in Brufut, you know, connecting Madiana and Brufut, straight away we run to that part. And we start something there. Okay. You know what I mean? And we want to complement government development, you know, government pronouncement. And we did that in Gunjura as well, and so many other places. It's rather unfortunate sometimes you wait too long between the pronouncement and the execution of these projects. Yeah, and it could cause some frustration. But you know, if everything being equal, I think that is how we should work. So we are here to complement government efforts to develop, you know, because when you do an estate, the government doesn't supplement you or subsidize anything for you. Basically, you build your own roads to your estates, you bring about your electricity poles, water and all that. So, you know, by extension, it is like, you know, we are complementing the government. Yes,
which is
development,
which is important there. Yes. Because looking at that, when government has those ambitions, in fact, not just government, even just individuals, as communities try to expand and grow, the real estates have a role to play in that. Yes. But I would want us to talk about the challenges that you also face as an industry, as an association. There are challenges you must face, but before we head into those challenges, I would want us to take a quick break, and from there we can talk about the challenges.
Okay, all right.
From that short commercial, from wherever you are watching this from, this is the Sustainability Track, and today our conversation is around real estates as far as sustainability is concerned. What are real estates doing as far as sustainability is concerned? How is this translating into development for the Gambia? We intend to talk about the challenges that the real estate industry faces, and what are some of those mitigating steps that are there as an association for the real estate companies in the Gambia. To get more insight on this, Mr. Sise, welcome back from the short commercials.
Thank you.
Like I said before going on with our break, we want to talk about the challenges that you face as an industry. I mean, the insurance, the real estate industry rather. What are some of those challenges that you had to go through?
The challenges are numerous. They are numerous, and like I said in the beginning, this is a very sporadic industry. It is unfortunate that we've been around for quite a while now, but there is no regulation per se. the real estate industry is not regulated. So what we are doing as far as, even though we are still pursuing this issue of regulation with the government, coming back and forth, meeting them here and there, internally as an association, we are thinking of self-regulating. What that means is that we are going to come up, or we are working on solutions or methods that our members can work with to ensure that we set standards in the industry, even though we are not regulated. And the way we want to do that is we are training, like I said initially, we are training all the CEOs in this industry.
Because like to build their capacities.
To build their capacities and all that. So because eventually regulation will come. Whether it's now, so we don't want it to catch up with members that are not ready. If you don't have the high standards of professionalism that this industry requires, you might be thrown out of business at some point when regulation comes. So that is why we are self-regulating as far as this industry is concerned. The challenges mostly, the custodians of land in this country is the government, is the state is the custodian of land in this country, and they have to administer land. But unfortunately, there is poor administration of this land, and that is why all these issues that are going on with land in this country, even though there are blame games here and there, but if it was well administered from that side, then nobody will have the opportunity to do anything wrong, because every single land that you want to trade in, has the right documents. It can be identified to a certain person, and nobody can sell to 1, 2, 3 people. But why is that possible today? Because there is poor administration. So we are hoping that, I know the government has, shown willingness to work on those things, but it's taking ages as far as we are concerned.
And that is having that negative impact on the real estate industry.
It is. That is why everybody just puts all real estate companies in one basket, and they are all called scammers. But that is not the case. You cannot invest in it.
The problem extends beyond real estate.
Yes, it extends beyond real estate. The land that we are selling, legally belongs to the government. If I am trading in that land, the owner, the true legal owner, which is the government, should be in a position to tell me whether I have a right to it or not. But today, that is not possible. You know what I mean? So how does it happen that the real estate company is, yes, you have people who come into this business knowing they have a certain problem with the land, yet they go out and sell it. Those are people with intentions to just defraud people. And there is nothing you can do about that. But the majority of our members or traders in this country really want to do the right thing. They only get caught up in problems that emanate from not their making.
Their own doing.
Yes. So that is what's unfortunate. That's the major challenge with. But it's not only in Gambia. I'll be honest with you. It's in every part of Africa, especially. I went to Ghana, and they have land guards. People who are guarding lands with guns to make sure that nobody touches the land. So if you are the true owner, why would you need to guard your own property? So you see that these problems are also existing
all over.
Yes. But hopefully, the central government or the state will come to solutions. We just wish that it's sooner rather than later.
Indeed, because those are really important. I mean, like you said, that ownership, because the idea of having a real estate and then from your clientele, your customer base, that transfer, that legal transfer from one person or from the real estate a company rather to an individual is important.
Absolutely.
If there is a problem in the documentation process, from wherever it might have emanated, there is bound to be a problem, and those are important. But going forward, I mean, when you look at the Gambia, most of the things, most of the land issues and then the land sales as far as trading is concerned, is within the combos.
Yes.
Is there any plans to say, okay, that you want to extend beyond the combos for for the sake of sustainability? Because if Combo is that congested now here in the urban areas, do we have plans of going beyond the urban areas to maybe far interior at the rural end? Is that a target for the association?
It is. You know, this kind of business is dictated by demand and supply, of course, yeah. So where demand is where everybody wants to go. But of course, I understand there are so many companies that are also banking land in other areas outside of the combos, knowing that eventually we will be going there. And yes, but it's demand and supply that dictates really where because you don't want to buy somewhere now and then try to develop it and you don't have ready buyers and all that. That is why. But eventually we'll all go out there and
that's quite important. I mean, one of the last questions, with respect to time, would be, I think, to me, this is one of the most important questions, and I would want you to answer to the best of your ability. That is quite important, because I want to understand this. As an industry or as an association of real estates in this company, in the Gambia, what do you think is the role, is the contribution of the industry to the development of the Gambia, and then to extend this Africa as a continent?
The contribution of real estate in the Gambia is massive.
It's something that we can have an episode of it.
It is massive, but unfortunately it is understated. I would like to see when the Minister of Finance reads the budget, he specifically points out that this is how much the real estate companies
the contribution of real estate to the GDP.
I want to see when the governor of the central bank talks about the economy, it talks about the contribution of real estate in this country. Because yes, they say remittances from the diaspora to Gambia is billions of dollars.
That has been known to be one of the major contributors.
Yeah, it says billions of dollars. But we know that more than half of that amount goes towards real estate and construction. Yeah, so I think it's only fair, for the government, or whether it's and in fact for the government to say this is how much was contributed that went through to contributed by real estate. You know what I mean? And that is one thing. But when you look at the GRA, no single document in this industry is transferred without fees. You pay capital gains tax. If it's a leased land, you don't only pay capital gains tax, but you also pay stamp duty. If it's an individual, yes, capital gains tax is paid. If it's a company, we pay corporation tax. I want to see how the government comes out with these figures to say this is the contribution of, instead of every time they talk about us, it is, you hear the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice talks about how many cases are in the courts, and most of them are real estate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's single-handed. They're just pointing those things out. But our contribution needs to be
silence as far as
our contribution needs to be recognized. And I think the only time they will take the industry seriously is when they clearly identify what our contributions and how much better we could have done if we were properly regulated. You understand? So real estate is contributing a lot, yes. And not only, even some of the hotels you're calling under tourism and all those things, most of those owners are supposed to be seen as real estate investors. They are building all these hotels, all this, they comes under real estate as well.
Still within the same facet.
Yeah. So it is more than what we are looking at, but it's an understatement. But it is massive. The contribution is massive.
Well, those are quite important. I mean, looking at the financial as a country, I mean, the taxes, like you said, if the real estates are really a major contributor to the government's revenue, in addition to that, in fact, employment too is important. The number of people that are employed within the real estate industry is one that is really massive, and then that the Gambia should take credit for, because those are really important. But going forward, I think one of the last questions that I want you to talk to us about or to answer would be, what advice would you have for anyone, whether an individual or an institution trying to make a breakthrough in the real estate industries? What advice would you have for them?
First and foremost, now that we have the association, I would advise anybody who wants to venture into real estate to come through the association. We are working on a source book with guidelines for members. So we have gone through the trials and errors and all those things, and whoever comes in doesn't need to go through that, because we will guide you to the right direction.
People don't have to learn the hard way.
You don't have to learn the hard way. You don't. It's up to you, unless if you want to go through trial and error way of doing things. But we are more than willing to train new owners or prospects into the business, and we hopefully they will not make the same mistakes that most companies are made.
That's quite important, because as an industry, this is a growing industry. I mean, looking at the population of the Gambia, it's a youthful population. So, and then youth will always be there to look out for jobs, to look out for different avenues as far as growth is concerned. And then this is one of those industries that most youth would now look out for. So, but that was quite important. I mean, having established that the industry has a challenge and has a series of challenges, the contributions are massive as far as the Gambia is concerned. We want to thank you for having that bit of that time that we are here on the Sustainability Track.
My pleasure.
But before we let go of you, we want you to have share some final remarks, if you want to have some.
My final remark would be, to my members, to understand that this industry is like, because it's not regulated and so many things are not, there are no guidelines to come together. Those that are not members should come and join the association, so that when we conduct our trainings in a bid to standardize the industry, we would all be at par at some point. But the association is here for everybody. We are not. We don't want to leave out anybody. I think as far as the association is concerned, that is what I want to plead.
Those were quite massive words, and then we are grateful for your coming here onto the Sustainability Track, and we look more onto discussing more growth for the industry, and on behalf of the association to have further talks to continue on these discussions. It's important to have discussions around these things, because if not, these challenges and then the strategies that we have as a country going forward would not be attained. But through discussions, we are all able to bring all stakeholders on board, and that is important. Well, that is all we have for you today on the Sustainability Track, and that was the final remarks from Mr. Cisse. Until we come your way again with more interesting episodes of the Sustainability Track and very many programs of the African Renaissance TV, this has been the Sustainability Track.